Okay, so the question now comes to us is whether we should stretch before or after practice. It's interesting how in hockey for over 50 years, players have walked out of the locker room onto the cold ice and stretched a cold muscle. It's the equivalent of taking a rubber band, putting it in the freezer, leaving it overnight, pulling it out, stretching it. What's going to happen? It's going to snap. You don't want to stretch a cold muscle, cold rubber band. So even if we could be warm before the game or practice, we have this rule. It's a no stretching rule. Studies have now shown that stretching before activity shows a 12% loss in force. If you go to do, let's say, a jump, you stretch first and then go to do a jump, 12% loss in force. And stretching puts the muscle to sleep or makes it inactive. They show a 20% inactivity of the quad and 16% inactivity on the hamstring after stretching. So the moral of the story is here, we stretch, but we do it after practice, after the game. And we're going to take a look at these stretching exercises. Okay, so the first of our moving stretching exercises is a stride stretch. Here we're going to stretch the leg back straight behind the body, and would look like this. Another variation of this stride stretch is to stretch with the leg out to the side of the body. Looks like this. Our next stretch is a groin stretch. Looks like this. A variation on this groin stretch is to do it while skating backwards. I find it gives me a better stretch. Looks like this. Our next exercise then is to stretch this hip flexor muscle. We're going to drag one skate behind our body with the toe into the ice and try to let that leg go back behind, stretching this hip flexor muscle. We're going to keep our chest and upper body up. Looks like this. Our next exercise is a hamstring stretch. Here we're going to bend over and touch the toes. We do this, we want to try to do a static stretch without bouncing. And we'll look like this. Now a variation on this hamstring stretch is to put the stick behind your legs, and that way you can pull your upper body down for a greater stretch. Looks like this. Another traditional hockey exercise that's underrated for stretching the hip is this high knee lift, open hip. It looks like this. Players skating down the ice, they lift their knee up high, out to the side, and then down. Up, out to the side, and down. This is great for the hip flexor. It's also great for opening the hip. Players can move that leg back and back down. Our next stretch is knee to chest. Looks like this. Now we're going to do some twisting exercises where we stretch the trunk from the lower half of the body. We're going to first put the stick on top of our shoulders. We get into our 2-foot shuffle stride position, and then we twist upper body, keeping those shoulders level. Another variation on this twisting exercise is to put the stick behind your lower back. Here it's very important that the palms of the hands are facing forward. We get into that 2-foot shuffle stride position and we're twisting or pulling our upper body around. So another good exercise for the hip flexor muscle and to stretch the hamstring is leg kicks. Here we're going to skate down the ice and we're going to kick out in front of the body. Looks like this. We can alternate legs. So a variation on this hamstring leg kick is to kick outside the body and would look like this.